The offensive line, the entire offense looked better, in my opinion, on Sunday. Would you just talk about, you only have had a week, your pride in what you thought and where you think it can go, please?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I think we've got a great group of guys to work with. They're true pros. They've been given great effort throughout the course ever since I've been here. And, the job of a coach is to help players reach their potential, right? So hopefully, we're taking incremental steps. Nothing, things don't happen overnight, as we all know, in any profession or any endeavor. And so I was pleased with the way the guys approached the week. And I thought, we're making, some small strides. We've got a long way to go. And I have to do a better job, certainly, in the running game, giving them, a better design, and we need to execute a little bit better to have more efficiency and more production in the run game. But, I think it was a, solid first step. I think the job of the players is to contribute to the overall success of the team. So we obviously didn't do enough. We need to do more. But, excited to get back to work with these guys tomorrow and see where we can go.
You've had tremendous success in your career with offensive lines, and when you look at even Dylan, who's been played a lot, he's still really young. When you add in the two rookies, for this offensive line in the youth that they have, do you see it as just a high potential? Do you think maybe some guys have tapped out? What do you see when you look?
I think there's, like to your point, I think there's a lot of potential there with this group. I think Jackson Powers Johnson is 21, I guess. Dylan, like as you mentioned, is still a young football player. DJ obviously is very young. So, we want, you always want, and sometimes life isn't always that way, but you want that gradual development and improvement, and you hope that the 66 reps that they got on Sunday, they're going to benefit some from it mentally as well as physically, the play speed, the different looks, the different blitzes. There's a lot going on, and it happens very fast for those linemen. They don't have a lot of time. I always tell them, it's easy for me with a remote that I can hit rewind 20 times, and I can draw on with my yellow line with my finger on a video screen. But they don't have that luxury that I do. So you hope all those things, make a difference, and the things you do in practice make a difference. I think a big thing that I've stressed with these guys, if we don't get it right on the practice field, which way is it that way? There's no chance it's going to get right on Sunday. So you gotta have faith in the things that you're doing during the week are going to contribute to your success on a Sunday.
Antonio's talked a lot about communication in the line and how much that must improve. 10 games in, how much can that improve?
Oh, yeah, there's I think it's been improving during the course of the season, and now Jackson, what was that, his second full start at center, I think.
Yes, sir.
So and he's a bright guy. He's a very bright individual, and he has a good demeanor on game day. He's not an uptight kind of guy. I've been around some centers, I've been around successful centers that had different personalities. So I think his is good given the youth that he has. The exuberance that he has for the game. So, but yeah, communication's huge. And, if you have to, when in doubt, over-communicate, right? So that we all get on the same page, even if they may see a point, they may hear a number, hey, do that. I'd rather, the five offensive linemen and the tight end and the running back all understand pre-snap as opposed to tricking the defense or hiding from the defense, And I think, we're making some progress there, as we have been throughout, not just last week. But that's huge. I mean, you got to have people on the same page. The offensive line coaches historically have nightmares of linebackers running through the A gaps untouched, right? It's not a good feeling for the quarterback. I've never met one that likes that, and nor should they. So part of it's, communication, get everybody on the same page.
talk a little bit about Trey Tucker, where obviously hasn't had as many targets as he would probably have liked this year, but where have you seen him grow, whether it's in practice, in the film room, or on the field as well?
Yeah, he just continues to get better day in and day out. I think he does a phenomenal job in the classroom. It's just more about opportunities on game day more than anything else. But as far as his maturity, his development, he continues to make strides, and he's going to be a really good player in this league.
And Jacoby's one of the vets in that room. What have you seen from him in terms of his play, but also as a leader as well?
Yeah, definitely a true leader by his actions as well as a vocal leader. He just, again, Cobes is a playmaker. He shows the guys the way. He puts a lot into it on the field and off the field.
Obviously, Trey talked about finishing drives after this weekend's game. That's something that all 11 work together to do. But where do you feel like your unit comes into play there, and what needs to get better, do you think, to be able to finish more drives?
I think the goal is to put the ball in the end zone versus field goals. Even though our guys phenomenal kicking, but the goal is to score points, and that's something that we definitely got to do. And at the end of the day, it comes down to just everybody being on the same page and executing to put the ball in the end zone.
Obviously, a new play caller for a year. How did you feel like the operation went from an offensive standpoint this weekend and moving forward? Where do you feel like confidence level is?
Yeah, it went well. I think everyone was on the same page. I think the number one thing was the communication, and I think we definitely accomplished that. I think our guys were dialed in and was effective.
Yeah, and I know in the first few weeks of the season the ball didn't find him as much, and it didn't get to him as much in Miami. But it's a good problem to have in the tight end room. Not only Mike and Brock, but we got Harrison and Justin and all the way down the line. We got a lot of good players, guys that are capable of making plays. And I think over the course of the season that stuff starts to balance out. But even when the ball's not going his way, the role he plays for on offense is invaluable. The dirty work he does for us in protection in the run game has been so important for us to be able to sustain drives and to allow Brock to go out and run the routes and make the plays that he has.
I know obviously you guys always plan to get both Brock and Mike involved going back to the offseason, but some things have changed since that. Devontae not being here anymore. I think that we've got more opportunities for those guys to get involved in the pass game. What are you hoping to see from them doing now that they're back together and moving forward just from a receiving standpoint?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when Devontae left, everyone kind of went up a step on the food chain. Everyone kind of went up a level, and I'm not here to say who our number one or two guy is, but as the tight ends coach, I'm hoping that one or two of your guys are at the top of that list, and I think that's certainly the case for us. And I think the best thing that we have going with Brock and Mike is they're both versatile players. They're going to do anything we ask them to do, whether that's running routes, blocking guys, pass protection. So I think for us as a coaching staff, it's finding that balance, see how they can play off of each other when we are in there in 12 personnel, and they're both really talented, smart football players, and that's a lot of fun to play around with.
Obviously, puts enough to score. If you were, obviously, he's a rookie still, so a lot to figure out. If you were to point to one thing that you'd like to see get a little bit better, or him continue to find the rest of the season to go better?
Sure. He's improving every week, which is exciting to see, in all aspects of his game. I know he had some early production earlier in the season in the past game, but really I see the little details in his game improving week to week, which is a lot of fun. I don't know if it's so much improvement, but opportunity. I know how gifted he is running after the catch when he's got the ball in his hands. We had one against Denver the first time we played, where we went up and took it off the roof, and you found him in the open space, and he ran another 40 yards for a touchdown. So, one thing I'd like to see selfishly is just to see him get the ball with some open space around him and see what he can do with it.
We ask him why he's so good after the catch. He kind of simplifies it a little bit, saying catching and run. But what do you see when you're looking at film or just watching during the game? Like, what makes him so effective?
Yeah, he's so strong with the ball in his hands. He's got a natural forward lean when he runs. That when he's tackled, he's always going to be falling forward for an extra 3 or 4 yards. I think his ball security has been great, which is something we really stress in our room. Ball security is paramount above all else. So to see him catch the ball, run with good ball security, have that forward lean, and really have the strength in his lower body to run through defenders. And then when they fall asleep on him, I think he's got a little twitch in his system to make guys miss as well. I don't coach him too much on that. I tell him make the catch, lock the ball away with great ball security, and then go do your thing. And I think his natural ability just takes over.
You're kind of what you're saying. He just says, I catch the ball and I run with it.
Yeah.
Knowing him better as a person, do you think there's a little bit more embedded to his madness, or do you think his ability to simplify the game is what makes him so good?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like something Brock would say. Like he's able to simplify the game quickly, not just in terms of catching and running, but seeing the picture on defense. And that answer certainly doesn't surprise me. That's probably all there is to it. I always tell them all the time, don't let me tell you guys how to run with the ball in the open field in the National Football League. That's something I certainly never did. But I think his natural ability just kicks in, and whatever his thought process is right now, it seems to be working for him. So I'm on board with whatever he's thinking.
I know you talked a little about Michael Mayer. With him back in the fold now, how do you think their skill sets coexist, and how do they benefit each other?
Yeah, I mean, both talented players, extremely tough, physical players in all aspects of the game. Run game, pass game, protection, which I make sure those guys don't fall asleep on. That's an important element of playing tight end. And, it's kind of week to week in the game plan how they can complement each other. But because of the versatility they have, it's easy to mix and match them. It's easy to keep Brock in on a play and send Mike out on a route and vice versa. It's easy to put them in combination on the front side of a run or on the back side of a run. They're really willing. They're great teammates. They're willing to do whatever we ask. So however it is we come up with ways to mix and match them, that's our job as coaches, to put them in the best position to succeed. And it makes it easy and fun for a coach like me to have two guys like that.
I mean, honestly, my days are playing over, so I'm not really, like to compare. But I think Zamir is a guy that can really get behind his pass and really move the pile. So I don't know. That is a good question. Honestly, just never thought about it. To be honest with you.
Now, very close to your obviously, the whole running game as a whole has been struggling. How much of it is the offensive line? How much is it the running backs? How much is it both?
Well, it's a combination of both. First of all, from players, coaches, I think everybody got to look themselves in the mirror and, put the blame on themselves. I think if you start with yourself, or you getting better at each position, from us coaches, from the O-line to the receivers to the quarterback, from the tight ends, I think that we can tie in and really focus in on our job and the details of the execution of what we're trying to do. It would be, the play would be much better. And, we also as coaches, we got to give these guys an opportunity to go out there and play fast, go out there and play with confidence, in which, Scott, man, I think he called a hell of a game last week. Guys are excited. They definitely respond. So we are very hopeful that we are going to get this thing going. So me personally, I'm excited.
Now, in your experience, obviously, you have a lot of experience in every rank. Is Zamir possibly moving a tad bit too fast? In the sense that sometimes the comeback lane is there, but he's not necessarily seeing it. If he slows down, can you gain vision, or do you carry around?
Well, as a running back, everything starts with your read key. Whether you're running outside zone, you are reading the in-man on-line scrimmage. Whether you're running inside zone, or you are reading the front side shade, three technique, whoever it is. So your eyes have to start there, and then from there, it starts with the proper footwork, the same track, everybody being on the same page. So a lot of it ties in. But I just think, like in our room, we have to do a better job of creating yards, yards out the contact. That's one thing that I'm stressing these guys is, we have to do more. We have to run behind our pads. We have to break tackles. We have to fight and scratch for every single yard, because I truly feel like, I know the RB position is devalued these days, but I truly feel like that, that we can be the light, we can be the energy, the legs of this team, and we just got to play with, more effort.
I've been in this league in my 18th season now, and it's the first year where you cannot hide, and I'm just going to be cutthroat with, you can't hide soft players. In the past, you can hide a soft guy on kickoff return, and you can hide him on kickoff. Now, they're going to find you. And you can't hide those players. The guys that won't block, the guys that won't tackle, the guys that won't strain, they don't exist. And they just get weeded out week by week on those units. So I like that because, these guys are part of the 53. They're part of a roster, and they got to produce. And our guys really like this play. It's a good play. Now, just to understand one thing, I just want to make sure at the end of the season, the number one data that we tried to make sure happened is the safety of the play. And we're hearing it's better, so that's great, and that's the number one concern. But the space and speed has been eliminated. The collisions aren't 19 versus 19 miles an hour. They're 11 versus 9s and 7 versus 8s, and so you're getting football. You have to shed and tackle. So I love the play.
It sounded like through 5 weeks there's only one.
I don't know. I don't know that. And I don't want to quote any statistics. I don't know that. Yes, sir.
10 games in, how would you assess the job that AJ and Daniel have done?
I think they're doing a great job. I think they're doing what we're asking them to do, and I think they're going above and beyond it. In terms of leverage football, they're giving us a chance to cover the kicks the way we want to. Daniel naturally was scoring, many games, he's 100%, and that's all we can ask. And then their work ethic is paying off for a really, really young core. If you were to ask me what's the biggest thing these guys have done is consistency. Great players are consistent, and those young players that we have around them want to be like them. And they go work. People don't understand. AJ Caldwell is out there. He's going to punt on Wednesday and Friday, almost 75 to 80 balls. You don't see that in this league. And Daniel's right behind him, working his kickoffs and his field goals. So they're all doing a great job.
To kind of learn, JD had to learn how to, you're always going to give up catches at some point as a corner. It's more about how you respond to that, being able to not let that kind of mess with your confidence.
What you talking about? We ain't getting no catches. What you mean? We always get no, man.
It happens. But how have you seen him been able to bounce back in those moments and kind of not let it get to his head?
He just keep his confidence, like we always say. Corners have a short memory. You can tell me ask me about all my plays that I made. I can remember them all, but the ones I got beat on, I was like, I don't remember that. So just having a short memory and just moving on. And it's really the motto of our head coach. Next play, PG same way. Next play mentality. That allows him to not be down by a play giving up, but just say, okay, you know what, I got to do next time.
Something we've seen from him pretty often this year is on third downs in particular. He's made a lot of pass deflections. What have you seen from him just being able to step up in those crucial moments to be able to help get the opposing offense off the field?
It's just the training, resorting to his training. What we've been training on since this offseason, since training camp. You can see him making those plays in training camp, just continuously breaking the ball up, and it showed up in games. He continuously got that ball out. And figure out a way to get it out, because sometimes it's different, sometimes it's not the same, and it was cool to see. Yep.
Coach, how important are the next couple of games for those younger defensive backs that are now stepping up because of injury?
Oh, it's very important. They get to play. It's the next man up mentality. It's not only important for them, but also for the other guys too. Just like when they wasn't playing, I always tell the guys, hey, be my eyes. Be the eyes, help each other out. It's going to be important for their development that it's all hands on deck as far as the secondary goes. But it's very important for them to now get out there and get a little bit more experience, So it's going to be critical for them.
Now you kind of touched on it. A lot of those guys, they almost never saw the field, not because they weren't good enough, but because the guys in front of them were that good. How much do you think those guys that were the young guys, how much they learned while learning behind those older guys, the veterans?
We'll see. We'll see how much they learn. The good thing about our defense is you can take the technique to the scout team, to the practice field, and continue to work those things. And we created a program that allows us to continue to develop those skills, whether it's in between drills, whether it's after practice. And even whether it's film study with some of the assistants, during morning meetings.
he's done a great job in his development, and also it just, it's a credit to his preparation. He was ready to lead, he was ready to communicate, he was ready to do those things if he was going to be inserted in some of those roles. And so that's one of the things that I'm impressed with him in regards to how he's been able to thrive in this role, in this elevated position. Is there hasn't been really a step back in reference to the amount of communication that we're able to have out there, and he stepped into that role tremendously for us, and it's been something that he's been preparing to do. And so it's not a surprise to me personally that he's been able to excel in this role.
And also just with his frame, obviously, there's some things that make him different from Marcus, but, athleticism is one of those things in his frame that makes him so good. Also with that, how much more can you do with him considering, his athleticism that he brings to that position?
Both Trayvon and Isaiah are unique skilled set safeties in regards to what they can do. And so his athleticism and range in the deep defense allows us to utilize his skill set, to patrol the deep part of the field while also being able to be versatile with Trayvon and his size and physicality and disruptive, play to do some things that have been done. But they also have the skill set athletic to be able to play in the deep defense. So it allows us to do a lot of different things. And again, due to Isaiah's preparation and his intelligence, we can be versatile with his piece as well, because throughout the course of his development, he has occupied certain different roles in sub packages when Marcus was in there. And so it just allows us to do a lot of different things with those guys, as we continue to develop them.
Have you seen Trayvon take a step up since Marcus was out?
I think you're forced to do so, especially from, just from a communication standpoint. Marcus was, again, he played a key role in the communication in the back end. And so, with his absence, it forced Trayvon to, step up into being a primary communicator as we kind of got Isaiah along, in regards to what that position provides for our defense in regards to making sure that everybody's on the same page. And so, naturally, due to the misfortune, he had to step up, and he stepped up in a big way.
What Spillane has meant to this defense this year and the steps you've seen him take as a player leader.
Really what Spillane has meant to this defense, there's no words to describe it. He's a true leader out there. He's really the heart and soul along with Max, he's the heart and soul of the defense. And it's just it's hard to imagine not having him out there. He does such a good job of helping everyone else out that it's something I don't even want to think about.
Is there anything you can point to that you've seen in terms of an improvement in his game that you think has really helped him take a lead?
I just think overall his footwork, he's always been a guy that could come downhill and make plays. Now his footwork is so sharp that it's coming easier for him. So that's the thing. The game slows down for you after a few years in the league, and it's really slow for him now, and he's able to go out there, make plays, and help other guys do the same thing.
He kind of has a quiet intensity to him. Do you think that's rubbed off on some of the younger guys, whether it's Tommy or some of the guys that are following in his footsteps?
I don't think it's a quiet intensity. He's intense, but the thing about him, he's so confident in himself that it just spills over. Everyone understands that. He knows what he's supposed to do. He knows what you're supposed to do, and he's going to get it done.
Coach, how underrated is Divine Diablo, and what does he do for the defense?
He's very underrated. With him out on the field and him playing fast and decisive, it really helps us out at the defense, and we love that he's out there. We love his playmaking ability. We just want him to continue to improve just like everyone else and go ahead and take the next step and the next step and the next step.
Can you update us on the development of Tommy Eichenberg and what's the next step for him?
Well, Tommy, he's still playing special teams now, playing a little bit on defense. He's a guy that you can see the development coming. You saw the instincts in training camp, and you see it out there on the field. It's just he's waiting for his opportunity. And, he's a young guy and has a bunch of potential, and we're just ready for him to get an opportunity to get out on the field and see what he can do.
Another young guy that I know has got some reps on Sunday was Amari Burney, kind of, continuing to get his feet wet. What are some of the things that really go into, A, his development, and B, him earning each rep?
That's the thing. We talk about earning reps, and you earn reps by your performance on special teams and being able to go out there and do a good job for the special teams units. And he has a unique ability to play fast. He has great speed, great intensity. So we're just looking for him to continue to get more reps and get his feet really solid in his defense.
Philbin was a first-round pick, right?
Yep.
All right. Didn't work out at Jacksonville. Goes to Carolina. Gets cut there.
And speaking of
Like, you know, there's a bunch of journeyman first-round pick. I think Philbin has a bunch of talent. So, you know, hopefully it doesn't take as long. I mean, Coach Charles Harris, you know, he was at Miami. He was a first-round pick. He went on to have a good career at Detroit. Now he's playing for Carolina. Some guys take longer than others, you know, and then sometimes it just, the time limit runs out and you're on the street. I mean, that's the reality of our game. So we're trying to press and learn as quickly as possible, trying to keep it simple so that progression goes faster. That's why we're always like, keep them in one spot, give them a chance for success. You succeed there, it builds confidence, it leads to playing at another spot. So right now he's focused on rushing inside. I think he's doing a good job, you know. Like I said, I still think about that one. If KC stays outside in the red, he's rapping scot-free. He has a two-piece, and everybody's going, oh, you know, what about Tyree last game? So he's doing the right things. You know, and like I said, the pressure of the beginning of the season based on, unfortunately, our circumstances kind of like behind us, and he's just focusing on the process of technique fundamentals and winning.
I want to ask you, because Dan Big Daddy Wilkinson, I know this was before your time, but he was the first defensive tackle, first overall pick, told me one time in an interview that certainly being a high pick comes with blessings.
Yeah.
The cash.
No question.
But it also comes with some extremely high expectations, and you have to temper those a little bit for reality. Can there also be a blessing sometimes to maybe dropping a little bit?
Well, I just think I track all these guys. So what's the last first-round pick D lineman to be a huge impact player as a rookie? I would argue Micah Parsons. Came in as a rookie, lit the world on fire. The kid at Houston last year had a good year. Will Anderson had a good year. Not, you know, was he a Pro Bowler? Maybe, you know what I mean? So it just takes time. The more I've been around them, and, you know, when you're losing, just the pressure mounts up, and that's the battle you're fighting with, you know, like I talk about it, the mindset of your players all the time. Just focus on the process and get better. Focus what you can control. And I really think he's doing a good job of that and keeping him in one spot.
Adam Butler is a guy goes under the radar, but he's a leader in the locker room. He's a leader outside of the building. Guys look up to him as a man, as a husband. And on the field, Mr. Consistency. Probably one of the most disciplined gap guys in the NFL. I've been told that by other NFL people. How much of a blessing as a coach is it to have an Adam Butler in your room?
It's been awesome. Like, he is as aware as anybody. So he's playing the most snaps he's ever played in his career. He's very sensitive to being called he was just like a designated third down pass rusher for his career. So now he's like, man, I'm a 3-down player. You see that? So he's like, he's been great, especially with Christian out. And if you go back even to like before, ask Christian. He taught him more about pass rush than anybody in his development. He's doing the same thing with Tyree. You know, he played offensive line at Vanderbilt. He's the first guy to make the transition from college playing center to defensive line. Normally it goes the other way around. You go, you know, you're a slow D tackle, you move to offense. Shoot, I was at NC State. I played with three of them. J.R. Sweezy, Joe Tooney, and Ted Larson, all were defensive linemen at NC State.
I forgot about Tooney.
And they end up going to become offensive linemen. He's the only one that's been the reverse of that. So he understands the game, and he helps our room tremendously, especially from a pass rush standpoint. But he's a technician. And also with gap integrity, he's got to win in his primary gap more. The change-ups, but he does a good job.
Coach, this is the second year in a row where you've seen Max Crosby overcome, you know, a leg injury to still be performing at such a high level. Can you just talk about the toughness in him as a player, and have you seen anything like it as a coach?
New abilities within himself.
No, I haven't seen anything like it as a coach. I haven't seen anything like the one last year with Kansas City when he played that first game at home coming off. You know, I mean, he had surgery that week and still played in the game. I don't know if I should publicly say that or not, but you know, you have surgery on a Thursday and you're playing a game on a Sunday. But the doctor said he was good to go. I've never seen anything like that. But you know, and again, I talk about it all the time, but you don't do that without a routine, a good support staff around him, with his wife, with his, you know, with the trainers here. He's elite in terms of, I've never seen anything like it.
Patrick talked a lot about process over results. People often get caught up in some of the counting stats, especially when it comes to edge rushers, D linemen.
Yeah.
Specifically Tyree, where do you feel like you've seen the most growth from him, and what do you want to see just
fun to watch, but how tough does it feel watching be expected?
So it's a question about stats or just Tyree? Yeah. I want to get some of those too. We need to be better coordinated rushing the passer than we were at the beginning of the year. That was a major focus for us last week, and trusting the rush plan with Tyree, working his craft, like being consistent. It starts with his, I always say pad level. Pad level starts in your stance. He's got to be lower with his hand placement. That gives him a chance. I always say if you rush with extension, you're going to naturally make the right choice. You know what I mean? But I'm always, the stuff you're not thinking, sense urgency to get in his stance. He gets fined in our room if he's not in the stance or ready to go. He already knows. He'll get up in the room and chuck himself a fine. Just, you know, processing too much. No, get set and get ready to go. Pad level, hands inside, working 2-to-1 long arm, working a bunch of things, but just focusing on those. And I'm always like, you get to the spot, the guy's going to be there. I promise you. What are you focusing at? You know, I've never seen someone try to dunk a basketball staring at, you know, or trying to beat somebody in one-on-one basketball staring at the rim. You got to focus on your matchup. So we always talk about his eyes, basic football fundamental things over and over. Then, I mean, it's really no different playing the game than what you just said. Dominate this guy in front of me, and the result of the sack will be there, I promise you. So getting to the spot is a big focus for us.
I asked Joe Philbin about vision with running backs. I know you don't coach running backs, but as a defensive line coach, what is it about running backs that gives you a nightmare? What is it about vision, a running back with a vision? I got to watch Barry and all that, Sanders. Talk about how the vision of a running back just makes your life a living hell.
PG calls it 1 of 32, meaning there's one running back for 32 teams. There's a bunch of us. They're going to win a one-on-one matchup with us in space. So that's why I control back. Honestly, the run game is no different than the pass game. Win our primary gap, the gap you're aligned in, play with patient eyes, dominate that until the ball declares, then play a secondary gap. But like, we're not playing space games with running backs. We're going to lose. We're going to lose. You know what I mean? Dominate your gap. You got to trust the guy next to you. You know, we don't talk about. I'll just give you technique fundamentals how we talk. Lock peak. Job 1's to whoop his ass. Job 2's put your eyes in your gap. Job 3's violent block release. I don't talk about anything other than that. Where are your eyes? On the tip of the pad of the offensive lineman. So, you know, the biggest mistake with defensive linemen is eyes straight to the backfield. Stalemate at the line of scrimmage. Reset the line of scrimmage is job 1. Whoop his. You know what? You either reset. That's why I love the run game. You either reset the line every time or you didn't. That's the most important thing. So with regard to running backs, you know, spill, 5, whatever it may be, they have the open available gaps. Make sure if you're a 3 technique, the B gap, that's your primary gap. That's your responsibility. So if that guy wants to rip Ruth, or you know, we're not playing. If we're playing a peekaboo game, we're going to lose. And I promise you, if we're playing a peekaboo game, we're not resetting the line of scrimmage. So. They shouldn't matter is the short answer to the question, unless we're in space dropping or doing something crazy. You know what I mean? And then we can look foolish at times.
Coach, can you go back to Tyree really quickly and use that as far as his stance go? I know last year he was struggling with even just staying low, as you know, because of the way he was positioned in college. How much of improvement have you seen in him, just in that particular, and the pressure that he's putting on the quarterbacks?
He's doing better. So the first question about pad level?
Yes.
I always tell him pad level starts in your stance. Like your hairline under his chin. You either did hands above eyes. And say get lower, get lower. If you put your hands above your eyes, you have to be lower. So, you know, that's with him with the run game and the pass rush. And naturally his long steps, I always tell him, again, focusing on our matchup is such a big thing with him. If he gets 4 steps in the ground, he's going to be 6 yards in the backfield. So just focus rushing who's blocking you, as opposed to peeking where the quarterback is or finding where the running back is. he's going to be there. And then after that point, it's about block release. You know, whether it's a long arm releasing the block or locking out a guy on a reach block. You know, you're talking about hand placement, all those type of things, which is the finish. But you got to get there first before you can talk about finishing. So with him, the consistency of just getting to the spot, resetting the line of scrimmage, getting where you're supposed to be. And when you're getting there at a consistent level, now you're focusing in on the finish, the release, the arm over, staying square, countering at the level of the quarterback, all those type of things. But if you're at the line of scrimmage, you typically probably have eye discipline issues, hand placement issues, pad level issues, all those type of things.
And just one more question. Last year I asked Patrick Graham in regards to how comfortable he was with communications. He's like, I wish Tyree would come more and ask more and be more open. How much more comfortable is he now with opening up and just coming to you about fixing certain things?
Oh, he's been awesome. And Tyree's been great. He's been hanging out with Adam a lot. You walk in the cafeteria, he's sitting down there with Adam, asking him everything. And Adam can tell you a long story now too. But he's, hanging with him has been great. Putting in the extra time, he's just so much more comfortable. Like I said, any rookie, when they don't know, or new player, like even with Jonah, they're sometimes afraid to tell you don't know. He was kind of in that category last year. Now he's like, hey, explain that again. Hey, give me that one again. What do you see here? He's not afraid to speak up when you don't know.
Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, we're good topic when you said about Jonah. Levi, you're killing me. How do you feel like he's been able to earn his reps? Obviously, he's getting so much time as a guy that you kind of took off from practice.
Yeah.
Like, what has he done to really earn that?
Did you watch the last game?
I did.
Did you see him? He's gonna be all right. He's gonna be all right. I'm excited about Jonah. He is humble and hungry and talented, and has been in some systems where in college, he's stunting and moving every play. But this kid, I'm excited about him. Really excited about him. He's kind of, it was kind of given to him at first. He just got him because we stole him from Indy. You know what I mean? And then we had him at rookie tryouts, local pro day, and. But I'm excited about Jonah. He's working his butt off. You see him take out zero on the pursuit on the screen. He keeps running to the ball like that, and it'll be good.